And we are live. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to APJC Office Hour for AWS Disaster Response Hackathon. And this live stream marks as our first of 3 office hours, and we hope that we could address some of your questions, especially APJC folks, and guide you on how you can succeed to win the hackathon. Okay, so today we have 2 great speakers, Joel and Yanwei. Joel is our disaster response subject matter expert from PDC, and Yanwei is our machine learning expert from AWS. So if you have any questions, ask them away on the comment box, and we will address it at any convenience time for our speakers today. Now, before we get to know them better, let me introduce myself. I'm Donny. I'm a senior developer advocate covering for ASEAN, working for AWS, and I will be your moderator for today. All right. Now, let me pass my mic to Joel for the introduction.
Oh, Donnie, thank you so much. And Yanwei, we were all catching up before, and it's such a privilege to be here on behalf of, again, the Pacific Disaster Center. I know a lot of you have a lot of acronyms, and of course, disaster is our middle name, and we've been around for about 25 years. I'll give you an overview later, but really learning from the team. It was so great to learn about Yanwei's work with not only the cloud and AI, but remote sensing, and that's something that we work with as well. So we're here to learn, but also we've got about 50 of us that sit behind me. I'm here in Hawaii on the island of Kauai, and from Maui to Brazil to our colleagues that are based at the AHA Center for ASEAN in Bangkok and in Geneva. We're here to help you and to learn more. Back to the moderator. Thank you, Donnie.
Awesome, Joel. Thank you for your introduction. Now, Yanwei, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Yanwei. I work for AWS as a solution architect, specialized in machine learning, where my job is to help companies to achieve their solution on AWS and sometimes do the broadcast to share some of the ideas, some of the research domain to how to solve your problem. I'm so lucky to be here. Thanks, Donnie.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm really excited and appreciate for you to be here, especially Joel with research in Hawaii. And I guess it might be quite late for you. So thank you, Joel, for making time for us. Okay, so for all of you who have questions related to disaster response, don't forget to just put your questions on the comment box, especially for Joel. He has an extensive experience working with people around the globe and can shed some lights or ideas for you. All right, before we get started, we'd like to send our thoughts and prayers to everyone affected by the Mount Myhre volcano eruption in East Java, Indonesia. From our side, AWS is committed to supporting communities in times of disaster, and we will be making a financial contribution to the Indonesian Red Cross Society or Palang Merah Indonesia to support their response and recovery efforts. All right, so and for me as a developer who can speak to machine using lots of technologies, this case of unfortunate event makes me wonder if I can use technologies to at least mitigate the risk, right, and minimize the blast radius of the disasters. And that's exactly why I'm so excited to be part of AWS Disaster Response Hackathon. And if you are a developers, if you are builders, a data scientist, or machine learning engineer, this is the perfect hackathon for you. You can help everyone to improve disaster response with machine learning. And imagine that with advanced technology of machine learning, we can help people in need. We can help people suffering from disaster in various locations across the globe, from wildfires in Greece, earthquake in Haiti and Japan, to volcano eruption in Indonesia. And I think this is a really great opportunity for us to step up and be part to make better world. And for you who probably haven't joined the hackathon, let me share my screen. Yeah. If you haven't joined the hackathon, you can simply go to the this link that I show you on the screen, AWS Disaster Response .devpost.com, and click on the join button here and start building your project. So this hackathon has in total $54,000 prizes in total, and I suggest you to check the rules first before joining in, just to make sure that you're eligible enough to join the hackathon. And once that you have joined the hackathon, you can see that it also provides you with a list of to-dos. You can join the Discord channel that we have set up to facilitate any challenges or issues. And to help you with this hackathon, AWS also provides you with a cool service called Amazon SageMaker Studio Lab, which we just announced at the reInvent this year. Right? And later on, we will have Yanwei to guide us through. But to give you more inspirations or ideas what to build in this hackathon, let's have a discussion with our disaster response expert, Joel. Let me stop my screen now and put you on this spotlight.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Donnie. And again, that overview was fantastic. I'll be sharing my screen. I don't know if you can see my screen. And again, I'm sharing a few different links. I want to emphasize what you had said. And in fact, I'm going to show you here right now in real time how we as the Pacific Disaster Center, we look at all hazards, again, up to 30 of them, from earthquakes to fires to floods to the ongoing volcano that you discussed. And thank you to your team to be donating. That's so very personal. I myself am actually from Southern California. I grew up on the San Andreas Fault. There's an earthquake there quite often, and some of the big ones. And so we all have day jobs and we all love what we do. And Amazon is such a fascinating company, and AWS. We're really thankful to Noah and his team for working again on the disaster response side, but bringing in the technologists to talk about Earth observation and AI. So again, on behalf of Dr. Aaron Huey, who is our Director of Operations, Ray Shurkadai is our Executive Director, and Ray is actually did a lot of machine learning and AI work starting even 30 years ago. He's a computer scientist by training. And so it's very personal, even during this pandemic. And we were talking about this before the call, that this is a good time to make sure we connect with families. And I will say my background is I'm an old GIS guy, and we never thought we'd have the ability to take expensive software, put it in the cloud, scale it. And again, a lot of you can take a look at our website, pdc.org. Again, we are an applied research center of the University of Hawaii. You're seeing that we're doing AI for humanity. Our flagship product is a free platform. Disaster Alert is actually used by the AWS team for their disaster response. We do big data. We do training and exercises. We want to make sure, and that's part of this effort, we can't just have the tools out there. They don't build themselves. We want to share. I want to learn down the road when Donnie's building something new and when colleagues are scaling Earth observation and AI, we're going to triangulate with our work with the United Nations. You mentioned the IFRC and the Red Cross. We work closely with the Red Cross globally. I'm in Hawaii, but I'm often based in Geneva as well. We signed a global MOU with the Red Cross this last year, the IFRC, and we work closely. Again, right now we're working with the Philippine Red Cross with the current typhoon that's landing. And so we're really experts in all hazards impact modeling, AI. There's the website. We also encourage colleagues that are dialing in. On your phone, I want you to be active. In fact, I know we're going to have an hour and a half, 2 hours here, and we're always available when you go to pdc.org. You can follow us at Twitter, PDC_global. Don't let the Pacific fool you. We are global. We started focusing on the Pacific, Asia Pacific 25 years ago. But again, disaster is our middle name, and Disaster Aware is our platform with Disaster Alert. And you should know what's behind this is AWS. We wouldn't be able to do this without the foundation in the cloud. This platform can be on your phone if you have a Android, or I happen to have an iPhone. You can go to the store and download, type in PDC Disaster Alert. It's a little blue icon. And please feel free to do that. And you can go and you can zoom around the world and click on, again, Typhoon Rai, Odette, that we're tracking. And you can find out more information about what is really happening there. And you can see some of the modeling. And here's the latest update. You can also share the link and say, it's really personal. When there's a typhoon, and again, we have colleagues that are in Jakarta, or we work closely with colleagues in Singapore and throughout Africa. And we can share the link and say, hey, have a look at this, whether they're an expert in a big operations center, whether technologists working at Amazon, or whether it's Esri or the UN, building technology. You can also share this if your family is in the city that's affected and they want to have, in this case, here's an analysis showing the timing. If you know that you're here, you know that this is maybe when the timing is going to hit for this particular event. And we don't get the luxury, as you look here, we don't get the luxury of having only one event. You can see we are getting real-time data. And of course, the volcano Semeru has been on our mind because it has been really accelerating and the impact is broad. And you can take a look here when you click, and you can also see one thing we always like showing is this idea that you can get an area brief. This is all happening with scripts, automated data feeds. Again, you can see we as the PDC, you can see timing. We're based in Hawaii. You're, of course, just over the date line, starting your Friday. It's Thursday evening here. Let's say you're getting on a plane to deploy, and if you're an Amazon developer, AWS, and you say, well, I'm building it, but I do want to understand the business requirements some more. You click on it, you can download this PDF, put it on your laptop, and when you're going through customs, I know Yanwei has gone through a lot of airports recently. We really thank him for being here because I'm an old GIS guy, but I'm such a fan of this revolution in Earth observation. We at PDC partner with the group on Earth observation. I myself have worked at the UN Operational Satellite Program in Geneva at CERN. It was put there years ago because you know what? Back then, the big computers were at places like CERN, but now we have a thing called AWS. And we now can scale Disaster Alert. If we need to make a new instance, sitting right now in Jakarta, we have an application called InAware that's being used by BNPB the FEMA, as we say in America. FEMA is our emergency management agency. BNPB and our colleagues there, and at the ASEAN AHA Center, the humanitarian center, they have this same version, but they have their local hazards that are being generated in real time, whether it's Earth observation coming in, or even citizen science. People on the street taking photos might be uploaded to a Unisat server, and then we have a dot on the map that says click on the dot, so you can see the satellite from the top down, but you can also see a photo that says the flooding is maybe 1 meter deep, or it's only a quarter of a meter. That changes the response. So that's kind of about what we do. And really take a look at our website. You can get resources, research and reports. I will say this, and Donna, you mentioned this, we are a disaster response entity, but a lot of our focus is really preparedness, climate change adaptation. We work closely with the IFRC, the Anticipation Hub. A big part of what we do is not just, as I say, a lot of us have family members. I'm an old surfer. When I get hurt, I use a Band-Aid. But I also want to make sure we're all strong, and we use what we call vitamins. And so I'm going to share my screen here really quick and just give a quick overview. We want to prepare. We want to make sure that we're prepared for when a disaster may strike, because there's no natural disasters. If we prepare humanity and build the right way, have resilient infrastructure and resilient, it's not lost on us here in Hawaii. We have an active volcano. We just had some flooding. We have the island I'm on here. We had a large category 3/4 cyclone that hit about 25 years ago, and it almost destroyed this island. It took many years to recover. So it's very personal for us. Really, I wanted to just show, and you can see some photos over there. Dr. Huey, our global operations lead, has worked with the Red Cross and led PDC's operations for over a decade. She's worked closely, of course, with Adelina Kamal and the leadership at the AHA Center. And you can see our tools are in what we call operation centers. You can see their BNPB colleagues, again, working there. Our colleagues there at the AHA Center, they're getting real time, and as you say, data for decision making. We don't just want to dump data on you. We want to make sure, and this is a great thing for all of you that are dialing in, we really thank you. You all are busy, and you're all technologists, but you have the skill. I always say it's like we're at a disaster restaurant. You are such great cooks and chefs, and you can make anything. But what do people want, and what do they need now? Do you put the dessert first, or do you put it at the end? And you want to use these tools, as we say, to get the right data at the right time to the right people to make the right decision. And I'll let that simmer. This is kind of what we do. Early warning is a big thing. In fact, we really led a lot of those efforts with the World Meteorological Organization, with the AHA Center, and with the ITU working in Southeast Asia. Much of our work is there. We've grown a lot through Latin America, the Caribbean. We were speaking with Noah and his team, growing the effort in Africa with the challenges there and all the opportunities and all the startup ecosystems, because Yanwei and his colleagues, we know they're bringing in these ecosystems of relationships. When a bad thing happens, we all are on the same team. It doesn't matter who we work for. In fact, we all work throughout the night because we're saving lives. And you'll see that our hashtag, if you want to tag us, of course, PDC_global, hashtag safer world. That's our mission. And you can see we take all this data on the left side, and we're going to take from social media to real-time alerting, infrastructure, situation reports, statistics, synthesize it, and we get it to the people on the right that may be leadership at Amazon and the disaster response team, people that are coding, and they could be an Amazon expert, an AWS expert that is sitting in Geneva or sitting in Jakarta, and they're coding. And then you also might have somebody that's sitting there, the mayor in Jakarta or the mayor here in Hawaii, says, I have to make a decision, and I can't wait 3 days. If we can turn on the satellites and the AI and the cloud, we can maybe in 1 hour get that data on their desktop. And that's what we heard. We did an AI event a few years ago. And a little background again, I spent the last 10 years in Geneva, mainly at the World Health Organization. I always say this is my third pandemic. I was brought there for H1N1, which was a big event, 2009, 2010. During that time, we had the Haiti response. And Haiti, we coined the term crisis mapping. There was a revolution that began there with our friends. Heather Lesson, now out of the IFRC, Patrick Myhre and colleagues throughout the UN said citizen science and people that are hacking, people that were at Tufts University, people that were using free and open source software, Ushahidi, said, let's get together and work and help. Again, this was for the Haiti response. Ebola 14-15, I led on that effort. I did a lot of the first maps for WHO. And then, of course, we had Nepal right after that. So that's a bit of a walkthrough of why we do this. We need to get these type of decisions from utilities to the environment, emergency services, demographics, who's doing what, where, and where are the people? I'm from Los Angeles. That's why I love Jakarta so much, a big, vibrant city. But in LA, we're really blessed. We speak 100 languages. We have 88 cities, 10 million people. And if we have it, we can use mapping and Amazon Cloud and AWS technology to synthesize using GIS and Earth observation. When there is an earthquake, you can say, well, we know that a preschool has been affected or an elderly home. We evacuate children and older people differently. So we want to make sure we use the technology. So when we dispatch a police officer, we may have an officer that speaks Spanish. That's important. We may have an officer that speaks Mandarin or Bahasa. We know that's an older folks' home and that everyone there speaks Cantonese. That's something that we can emphasize the diversity of our big cities and resource it right. So hopefully that kind of gives a good perspective. Before the bad thing happens, we go all over the world, 20% of the globe. You can see at a subnational level here, we've done Nicaragua, and we're currently just finishing up our work in Indonesia. What we love about Indonesia is it's big, 18,000 islands. And we know that the resilience of different islands are different. Maybe one island might be really well prepared for a volcano disaster, but maybe not so well prepared for COVID. We want to make sure they get the right funding, whether it's coming from BNPB or from the World Bank. We want data to drive decision making. So this is just an example of what we call our baselines assessment. Every 5 years, we visit and say, let's look at how prepared you are to target the funding and look out another 5 years. So that's the work we do with the Joint Research Center out of the EU, the UN, UN OCHA, the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. Here it is, our good friend, LA, based there at the AHA Center. And he's been very busy because his family, of course, is in the Philippines. He's based in Jakarta. They're using our tools from the AHA Center, using our DMRS, our disaster platform for all of ASEAN, to InAware. Again, language is all in Bahasa. We also have just stood up the platform in partnership, handed it over to the OCD colleagues, the civil defense there in Manila. So that is very timely. They are using right now for that response in Manila, using the background of, again, disaster aware, and it's in the appropriate languages. It has the local data fused to the global data, the Earth observation, the UN data, 6,000 data layers. But, this is where we'll collaborate more going forward. And we're building our relationship more with AWS, and we appreciate the smart people that you have, the tools that you have, the philanthropy of, again, giving and helping, and also the openness to welcome us here. Again, on behalf of Dr. Huey and our directors, we appreciate being here. We plan to be here more. We have other experts that are experts in AWS that look forward to joining. We know getting around, we've had a thing called the pandemic, and we were doing analytical products all through last year saying, hey, if you need to get ready in Honduras, COVID is coming, maybe there's a new wave. Where do you need to focus your expert? Who's vulnerable? Are there children that are vulnerable? We work with UNICEF closely to get the best data. We're going to work with WHO and other things. And here we are. When you look at the Philippines and look at levels of resilience, sometimes you don't need a big database. You need a one PDF that says, there's the map, there's the action items, and you need to make a decision. Of course, here, some more COVID analysis saying, hey, what parts of Nicaragua in this case might be more vulnerable or more prepared? And maybe they need one side, one province says, maybe we need more PPE, we need masks. The other side says, we really could use a few more hospitals. And then, of course, we're really excited this year. We work closely with Humanitarian Data Exchange and a lot of the open data efforts. A lot of the data that we use sits on Amazon already, AWS, whether it's UN OCHA out of The Hague. We're talking about the great work in Paris, The Hague, Geneva, centers of excellence. And then, of course, we're partners with UN Global Pulse there in Jakarta. These are the type of analytics that we want to get the right AI for, and again, AI for good. We want to make sure that the AI we use, you can see our all hazards impact model has the ability, it was a kilometer. It says we could click on the globe and we could say the cyclone just landed in the Philippines. click on 1 kilometer of the Visayas and say, what's the impact there? How many people? How many hospitals are exposed? How many elderly? How many young? That's the level of data we can generate. We can generate it now much quicker because of AWS than we ever could. So this is an example of kind of what we do. And then again, connecting all over. These are some of the advanced. And if you look in the upper right, you see PDC, but you also see the World Food Program. We're very proud of our partnership with, again, one of the biggest UN agencies, feeding millions and feeding more people every year. World Food Program is a great partner. And OCHA, we just last night, we were sending innovative collaborative products back and forth with colleagues on the ground in Southeast Asia with OCHA, World Food Program, and making these products for the cyclone and the typhoon that's happening now. Again, these are the key features of our platform. This is a free platform. Hopefully you're looking on your phone, Disaster Alert. You can even type in on a web browser, Disaster Alert, PDC. And we'd like to get your feedback. For a lot of, that would be a great point. You can always email the team. We'd love to get your feedback on, hey, have you thought of this functionality? The layers, it's GIS on this side, some of the analytics. So again, these are the kind of early warning we can, and what I also like is it never often happens right at 12 noon or 1 in the afternoon. It's 2 in the morning. You can go in and say, tell me if there's, especially we always worry about the no onset, the no warning, disasters like a earthquake or a tsunami. And a lot of us worked, again, 2004 on the large tsunami in the Indian Ocean and a lot of other tsunamis. They don't give a warning. And when it happens, we want to make sure we get a text message. So if I'm out at dinner, if I'm with the family, you can figure out, hey, I got an alert. Now we can start working on this disaster. So that's kind of some of the background of what we can do. But with that, I'm going to turn it back over. Hopefully that's a great overview, and always excited to learn from Yanwei and the team. And Donnie, thank you for having us.
That is amazing, Joel. I know that we are talking about disaster here, but the tool that you have, the disaster alert, disasteralert.pdc.org, it's really sophisticated, and we have 2 thumbs up from our viewer here. I am dope OG. I mean that's a good indication to show their support for your tool. That's amazing. Okay, so you mentioned a lot of stuff, and I do have one question from Facebook. So the question is related to the disaster response tool. If I were to use the data, is there any copyright that I need to be aware of?
That is a great question. And that's something you can go into at this point because of the nature of the data. If you go into Disaster Alert, that tool, you can use that that's the platform, and that's what we encourage. A lot of our power users, which are usually at the UN, which is the IFRC, they have access to certain modeling APIs, and that's something that we're going to work closely with the team at AWS as well to make sure they have the latest. So that's the nature of it, of course. And a lot of our reports, make sure you go to, again, humanitarianresponse.info or Relief Web. Relief Web is a great place, and you can see all of our reports. It'll say the Semeru volcano or the current typhoon. You can see the analysis there. So that's the best way to access either the written reports or usually, again, on that platform, Disaster Alert. But we want to dialogue more about different ways to collaborate. And what is exciting when we look at people that are building anticipatory, this revolution saying, let's prepare for droughts. Let's prepare 4 days ahead when the cyclone's coming. We can get the funding ready. It's kind of like getting the money to people before you run out of gas. You want to make sure that you have that. And that's something that, again, to Kara Siahan, who's leading the Anticipation Hub, to Emma and Ben over at the Risk Informed Early Action Partnership. And we are sharing there our algorithms. If you have a trigger that says, and I'll let Yanwei speak to that, if we see the satellite saying, boy, the middle of America is really drying out. I'm from California. We have these horrible fires. They burn year round, or Australia. We're seeing the satellites say, get ready, Australia. When you get to your summer, it's going to be really hot, and this area may be burning. They can get ahead of something. We know a La Nina or an El Nino may dry an area out or cause flooding. So these are things that is really exciting, and we're looking forward to being a part of it. Over to you,
I
Dan.
see. That's super cool. Okay, so With all of the technologies, you also mentioned layers, data sets, and I just want to emphasize more on this particular technology in machine learning. Uh, how do you think machine learning can help us to mitigate the risk or to give some sort of improvement on how we respond to disaster?
That is, I think we've got a good audience for that. You really, Donna, you said it, and yeah, I'll let Yanwei speak more to. I always call it, we're all part of us. We also want an equitable AI. We want an inclusive AI. We are all men on this call. We want to make sure it's 50% women that are coding. We want, earlier on, we were talking offline and we had children. We want young kids learning to code. We want maybe somebody who's older and retired and says, I want to learn some coding. So that's a big push that we want. Hawaii is very diverse. There's no majority here. People are from all over Southeast Asia, East Asia, Europe, and elsewhere. We're very diverse, and we want to make sure that people have that. But also, the biggest thing, as you said, is the ability to make decisions quickly. And I think that was, again, Donna, you really nailed it. The ability to, and it doesn't mean humans aren't in the loop, but that idea of the unsupervised kind of supervised learning that, Yanwei, we were talking, that if the algorithm can sort through, whether it's from Planet Labs or from a drone, humanitarian UAV, if we can just fly the UAV and then the imaging comes down, goes to the cloud, and instead of spending an hour figuring out where the need is, if the AI can figure that out in seconds, time is the biggest challenge. And if you can get that decision tool over to people in 5 minutes, that's amazing. So Donnie, I really appreciate that question, and I know Yanwei will have some great feedback.
Yeah. So I just found out there's a cool page that you have on PDC. It's called AI for Humanity. So everyone, if you want to check out on how PDC leverage AI and machine learnings to improve the ecosystem and humanity, please check out this link. Okay. So now, let me check if there's any other questions. Okay. So not for now. Yeah. So now let's move the spotlight to Yanwei.
Hey.
We're still on machine learning subject, Yanwei, and I think this is the right moment for you to jump in. You are our machine learning expert here, and my first question is to you from technical perspective. How do you see machine learning can help to improve disaster response?
Yeah, definitely. I actually learned a lot when Joy shared the slide, everything. From machine learning perspective, I think now it's a big moment because machine learning is helping in every business. I work at AWS for helping out the customer to prove their solution. I see a lot of solution has been proposed and handled by machine learning. And when I check out the slide, when Joy present the tools, I say, why not? And there is so many use cases that can be handled by machine learning. I do agree that data is for decision making. And if we can handle the data faster and we can combine the complexity of the data, then we are making progress.
Yep.
In terms of the machine learning, actually, now it's a good time because about 1 decade ago, we do have the deep learning era, where deep learning is helping us to solve so many problems, and it's actually a lot of challenge have been solved by deep learning, especially from the computer vision perspective and the NLP perspective. For instance, computer vision, we can imagine that if we can handle the remote sensing image to do the classification. Actually, very funny, I did my PhD on this, to how to classify the image on the remote sensing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and from that time, I know for sure that those technology has been enable us to quickly to prove the data to be used there, to share with some decision-making leadership in order to do the disaster recovery. We have a nice example from one of the colleagues in the lab who is doing actually the analyzing the image right after the earthquake from Haiti and 16, I believe, where actually they take the photo from the drone And the objective is to, based on the image, let's try to do the segmentation of the broken house among many houses, so that we can estimate per region what's a disaster ratio, how we can perform later action based on this truth. And those drawn image on real time, so that they don't necessarily need to have a lot of time waiting and then make the decision. This is one example
that's one idea for you guys. If you want to submit your idea for this hackathon, that's one idea.
Yeah, definitely. And there is other ideas, such as the natural language processing, where nowadays you do have a lot of tools can help you to do the machine translation, where it translates one language to another. And such as AWS had made it available, so that within several lines of the code, you do have the possibility to build a very, very machine translation algorithm. And for NLP, you may want to extract the document or from the Twitter feed, or you can even build a chatbot just to send people, send the FAQ when people are facing disaster, when they need a quick answer. A chatbot may help them to really get the quickly answers.
Awesome. Yeah. And also, a couple of weeks ago, it was last week, a couple of weeks ago at re:Invent, AWS launched the SageMaker Studio Lab, which is one of the tools that the developers can use to join this hackathon, right? This is one of the tools that they can use to submit their idea. Can you please show us its features, like what the SageMaker Studio Lab can do, or how that we can get started?
Yeah, definitely. We have talked about some of the algorithm. Now, AWS provides us the tool for building it.
Yes.
SageMaker Studio Lab is actually, like you mentioned, just announced 1 month, where it provides data scientists, the machine learning engineer, a free platform, Jupyter Lab, to build their machine learning code, where the platform is for the environment of CPU environment, where AWS provide 4-core CPU, and even GPU environment, where AWS provide NVIDIA GPU instance, where you can train your model GPU for free. You don't even need a credit card. You don't need an AWS account. All you need is an email to sign up, and you get the provisioned environment for you. That's
just
great,
email?
Right? Yes.
Just email, and then I can choose between CPU or GPU notebook.
Yeah, definitely. And in addition, you also have 15 gigabytes of the storage, so that you don't necessarily need to work in a row. You can always come back, and your code will be there, and you can continue working on it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Do you have any demos? I'm dying to see.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I prepared a demo.
Okay, cool. Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, definitely. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your browser.
Nice. It's a browser-based environment. I'll explain later how the environment and what's a trick inside. In order to sign up for the environment, you can tap on the search engine, and you can find the page of Amazon SageMaker Studio Lab. And you are in the landing page of Sage Studio, where actually here you can sign up for a new account. You can sign in, of course, and you do have a lot of feature-based functionality introduction, so that you can take a look. And also, we do have the ads for AWS Disaster Response Hackathon here. You can check the information here as well. To sign up, it's actually pretty straightforward. You just put some of the basic information, and you will get an email of confirmation, and you will have your account provisioned. I've already done that, so the only thing I need to do is sign in. Once I'm in the environment, as you can see, I actually have the environment up and running for CPU instance, where I can easily jump into the environment. The reason why we provide two environments is that we do believe that people, when people want to spend a lot of time on programming, maybe they need the CPU environment, and when they actually train some of the algorithm, especially the deep learning algorithm, they probably need the GPU to boost the training time, so that we actually have two different environments. In terms of the time remaining, actually, this is something that we think for CPU environments, we allows 12 hours of per session.
Okay.
And for GPU, as the infrastructure is expensive, we do limit the session time currently at 4 hours.
I see. 12 hours for CPU and 4 hours for GPU.
Exactly. And the time remaining is actually, sometimes people do, especially the scientists do get some confusion, whether it means that I can only work for 12 hours. No, it's not. It's 12 hours in a row where, well, if you want, you can work 12 hours in a row. And what happened after 12 hours is that the session will be stopped and you can continue. You can just start a new session immediately so that you have another 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
For GPU, it's each 4 hours.
I see. Sorry, Yanwei, I do have a couple of questions. We have two questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, this is not related to SageMaker Studio Lab. This is from Yanwei Cui. This session will be available after ends. I missed the first 25 minutes. Don't worry about it. Yes, it's going to be available both on Twitch and YouTube. I'm going to share with you the link after Yanwei done his demo. And the other question is coming from Facebook again, is this free?
Yeah, it is.
Now you have your answer. Yes, it is free. So it is free for CPU and GPU, both of the compute type.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
See. Okay, sorry. Carry on, Yanwei.
Yeah, no problem. I just want to comment out for the session time, because if you choose for the GPU, you get each time for 4 hours, right? The only thing will change after 4 hours is that the session will be breakdown, so that every app that is running on that session will be, the data will be not lost, but the session will be stopped, and you can restart the session. But if you have the training algorithm for more than 4 hours, it will stop.
I see.
So this is the thing that you have to pay attention. Doesn't mean that you cannot have the training algorithm for above 4 hours, because you can offer intermediate results or checkpoint on the local space, and where the local space for free and will be always available only you.
I see. And I saw that you already have one notebook. I think that's the running project for the SageMaker Studio Lab. And this is like the normal Jupyter notebook.
Yeah, this is the Jupyter Lab interface, where you do have a lot of functionality which makes the data scientist work. Of course, you have the browser and download the code, dataset, everything, and storage that will be persist in your account. And not only, this is the best part, not only the data, you do have the application environment persistence as well. So that I will quickly show you. This may be more for data scientists, where they probably don't want to use only one environment. They want to install their own kernel. They want to manage their own environment. So that this is a place where you can install this Conda environment, a lot of different environments, including this is the one that I installed previously for with PyTorch. I call it Python 3.8, but it's a PyTorch environment. And you can have as many environments as you want, and the environment will be persisting in your account.
I see. Cool. Is there anything else that you want to show to us?
Yeah, I can
A lot
keep
of stuff.
talking. I can keep talking forever. There is one thing that I really want to show is that Jupyter Lab environment do give you the possibility to integrate the Git, where you don't necessarily need to have your code only here. You can collaborate with the others. You can upload your code. And this is a Visual Git environment, so that everything that I change is follow the Git standard, where you can commit the code to your own library and you can collaborate with the others. This is the functionality of the Git, Visual Git environment. And of course, this is a big differentiator for AWS SageMaker Studio Lab, is that you do have the possibility to go to the terminal. I know that some of the data scientists prefer to the terminal thing, so that they feel more control with their instance. You can install anything, well, not anything, but you can install the necessary thing that you think is making life easier for running the code, and you can
in terminal we trust
Git control.
Okay, good. I see. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. So that means that we can also do a collaboration via Git as well. We can just commit and push our Python notebook and retrieve it and open it from the SageMaker Studio Lab.
Yeah, it is. And also mention that the whole environment is not based on the browser.
Okay.
It will be an environment up running behind the thing. And if I make something, it will be, for instance, if I can just launch some of the code. And if I close by accident, the browser is actually still working. It's not going to be closed for your session. The session is up and running, and you can always open the environment so that you can jump back to where the code left. So this will be two separate environments: the browser and the environment. A browser is only to show it's as an interface, and the environment is actually run up and running behind the thing.
I see. We do have one question here.
Yeah.
But I think you've already answered this, but just to confirm, can we upload the notebook locally into the SageMaker Studio Lab? Because I can, I think yes, because you mentioned that we can collaborate with Git, and I assume that we can easily upload our Jupyter notebook. But yeah, how about that, Yanwei?
Yeah, download, upload. It will be it will be as a local environment, but it's for free, and you don't need to manage the infrastructure, and you got the GPU, so that I can easily upload here. Of course, I need to rename it first, but yeah, you can easily upload to here.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, I think that's a really good introduction about SageMaker Studio Lab. For those of you who participate in this hackathon, you can use this tool for free. You only need to have email to sign up, a request account, and then you can start using it right away. So thank you so much, Yanwei, for doing the introduction. I believe there are so many things that we can do with the SageMaker Studio Lab. And also, we do have the GitHub samples for you to get started. You can get all of the links in the hackathon page. Let me share with you the link again. This one, please to be the right one. Yes. So just go to this link, AWS Disaster Response Hackathon, hosted at devpost.com. You can go to the resources. Thank you, Yanwei, for showing the website. And we hope that this will help you to get started with SageMaker Studio Lab. All right. Time flies. We've passed through 30 minutes. Okay, so let's close the session. I think we don't have any other questions coming from the viewers. So, Joel, any advices that you can share for viewers?
Oh, well, thank you. And again, Yanwei, you really gave a great overview. I know for our many colleagues who are dialing in and also who are going to be, we'll be sharing this, of course, on our PDC _global Twitter account, speaking to the power of collaboration and the hackathon and people that are experts in these tools, finding the use cases. This is, as I mentioned to Yanwei and Donnie before we kick this off, this is the beginning of our growing partnership, from pandemics to volcanoes to disasters. Globally, we are really looking forward on behalf of our PDC global team based on Maui, but globally, we look forward to further collaboration. And we're always available to help give feedback. We have a lot of subject matter experts. Our applied science director is an expert in epidemiology, Dr. Aaron Huey for operations, and of course, AI coming from Ray Shirkadai and the team. We really appreciate this opportunity. And Yanwei, we'll be talking more offline about remote sensing and that revolution in Earth observation that we're seeing from our partners at Unisat and from Planet to Maxar to the great folks at We Robotics that really make sure that flying robots are used for AI for good, and they're in the global south. To Andrew Schroeder and Patrick Myhre, Joyce, and the team. Sonia, based in Geneva and globally. Those are just some experts that I think will build those synergies. So thank you all. Over to the team.
Cool. How about you, Yanwei? What's your technical advice for viewers?
Just the normal comments that I will give everyone. Just try it out, please.
All right. That's a wrap, everyone. Remember to join the hackathon by using the link on the screen. And also, don't forget to check the inspiration tab where we already provided good resources for you to get started with. And once that you have joined, please address all of your questions on Discord channel and we can help you out there. So once again, thank you everyone for watching. Stay safe and happy building. Yanwei, xie Joel, mahalo. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Terima kasih, Sheshe. Thank you all.
Sama-sama.
Thank you. Bye.